First of all, thanks for coming in, and I concur with everything the our chair said. When the department were in here, they were telling us that the Ash Dieback scheme was up and running. How many people have been, or issues, or many farmers have been sorted at the moment? You know?
Well, the latest we were told last night was something like 64.
And how many is there?
How many Ash Dieback
farmers is there?
They're in the thousands, but we don't have the numbers. Again, we can't get that number. We really be grateful.
Yeah, well, I think the committee will be able to get that number.
Well, we'd be very grateful if the committee
we might
would
make a note of that the committee would get the question answered. How many? How many different individual farmers? My understanding also is that there was planning permission required over a certain hectares for taking them out, but I think are you aware that there's supposed to be some sort of legislation to resolve that issue? Is that correct?
Well, as far as we can see, it's the county councils that's been passed back to the county councils.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no indications that the county councils are going to back down on it. And it's only if you change species, so that if you're changing tree type, so if you want to plant conifers, then you have to go to the county council.
What's the planting for? My understanding is the planting was for taking out, but that you'd obviously be getting a licence for if you were changing species from the department, I'd imagine.
Well, that's regards taking out. I didn't understand that you needed planning permission to take them out.
Well, my understanding is, because I saw a case in Mayo that a farmer rang me, that's what they were looking for taking them out. That you had to give. But my understanding is, and in talking to the department, but I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe the chair knows whether that there was some piece of legislation or some sort of an exoneration over under a certain threshold that would eliminate that.
There was 10 hectares.
That's 25 acres.
But the problem with that, we have many people who have more than 10 hectares. We have one person with 2 sets of 10 hectares. They've already taken one out, and they're told now they're not exempt because they're going for the second 10 hectares. That first 10 hectares was taken out in the first scheme when it was much younger, but now they want to take out the second one, and they're told now it's a separate. You're now going into a second area. So it's a massive problem with all the complicated. What we need is simplification. It's just been made incredibly complicated, and ordinary people are being put to the pin of their collar to deal with all these regulations that they have to do. It's the same as, I would ask, what if you've got broadleaf trees? What risk is there to the environment of doing any management with broadleaf trees? If they're on good free draining ground, there's far more damage could be done by harvesting a field of maize in October than anything that would be done. And yet, if you're within 15 kilometres of an SAC or something, you have to go to all the expense and the time to get those environmental impact assessments done, which again stalls the whole thing, and people are stuck without being able to deal with the issue. It's very unfair.
Well, I think that the 15-kilometre thing that you're on about the SAC, that's because we've brought in the Habitats Directive, and it's destroying Ireland. The EU legislation is destroying Ireland, and
yes, but hold on, sorry, Deputy. Why are other EU states not imposing that? It's the same legislation.
Well, in fairness, I would have, and I don't want to go down this road too much, but I would have looked at Germany and other places where Snail held up a fairly big factory. So that's what Europe was doing to us, but people don't seem to appreciate that. In the line of, all I can say to you is we will keep the pressure on. I would say to the chair, and I presume the committee would back it, that we'd bring in the department to see. We'll try and get the figures for you of how many overall. If you say there's only 60 done out of thousands, it's a damnable indictment on a department in relation to resolving the issue. And After that, all I can say is that we will bring them in with the consent of our committee chair and the committee to try and get to the nub of the issue. Look at, we've them in about 20 times already. I'm sick looking at them, but we just have to keep persistent, to be honest about it.
But Deputy, the one thing I would say is that for the people who have applied for the RUS scheme, just because they have even been processed, that doesn't mean they're going to take it up. It's very few people to whom the RUS scheme could be in the slightest bit an option. They have to have small plantations, young plantations, but to the people who are really severely affected, there's no way they can go.
We should have to do something with them. They can't keep looking at the trees there.
Well, what are we going to do? That's what we're
but what I'm saying
help.
to you is, you're saying that they won't pick it up. They have to do something because the trees are basically affected and they're going to die.
If you, for instance, if I want to take it up, right, I have 20 acres, 8 hectares of my own. I've lost £100,000 worth of timber on my 23-year-old plantation, right? That's what it would be worth if I was harvesting it. But to go into the RUS, I will have to invest money. I'm only going to be given €1,000 a hectare. That's 8,000 to take out my trees. That's not a fraction of the cost. In today's, we all know the way fuel prices and machinery is going up. To take those trees out, and every day it gets more difficult, and the health and safety issues of dealing with this, I'm going to have to invest something like 20 to 40,000 more just to get the trees out, and on a land that I'm going to get no benefit from until those trees come to fruition.
So what you're saying is the monetary compensation is a waste of time?
Deputy Fitzmaurice, I'm going to have to suspend because we have a vote.
Right.